If you have ever looked at your bank account at the end of the month and wondered where it all went, you are not alone. Most Australians are bleeding money in places they never even check. I am not talking about your morning coffee or your Netflix subscription. I am talking about the hidden costs of just being Australian, the ones nobody warns you about, the ones politicians never campaign on, and the ones that are draining tens of thousands of dollars from your future every single year. Let us start with the one that hurts the most: bracket creep. This is the closest thing we have to a stealth tax in this country. Every year, your wage goes up a little to keep pace with inflation. That sounds good on paper, but the problem is that the tax brackets in Australia do not move with inflation. So while your pay rise looks nice, more of it gets pushed into a higher tax bracket. You are working harder and earning more, but taking home less in real terms. Recent estimates suggest bracket creep is costing the average Aussie household around $7,000 a year. Over the next decade, that's a family holiday, a serious deposit boost, or a year of school fees gone before you even see it. It happens in complete silence, with no bill in the mail and no notification on your phone, just a slow, invisible squeeze on every single pay packet for the rest of your working life. Next is something that hits anyone who wants to buy a home: stamp duty. In some states, stamp duty on a median-priced property alone can cost you $40,000 to $60,000 upfront. That's money you cannot borrow against, cannot claim back, and cannot roll into your mortgage in most cases. The Australian Treasury itself has admitted stamp duty is one of the most economically damaging taxes we have. It punishes people for moving for work, downsizing in retirement, or simply trying to upgrade their family home. Yet it's still here, eating tens of thousands out of your savings the moment you sign a contract. Then there's the Medicare levy and the Medicare levy surcharge. Most working Australians pay 2% of their taxable income just for the levy. However, if you earn over the threshold and do not have private hospital cover, you pay an extra 1 to 1.5% on top. The system effectively forces middle-income earners to either pay more tax or pay a private health insurer. For a single person earning $110,000, that surcharge alone can be over $1,100 a year, on top of premiums if they go private. It's a hidden cost of simply existing in the Australian healthcare system. Here's one that nobody talks about: your superannuation fees. You probably think your super is just sitting there growing in the background, but the truth is, hidden fees inside your fund could be costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars by the time you retire. We're talking administration fees, investment fees, transaction costs, and insurance premiums you may not even need. The Productivity Commission estimated that duplicate super accounts alone cost Australians around $2.6 billion a year in unnecessary fees. Just by checking your super, consolidating your accounts, and reviewing your investment option, you could add massive amounts to your retirement. Let's keep going, because owning a car in Australia is also brutal. Registration in some states sits between $800 and $1,500 a year. Add compulsory third-party insurance, comprehensive cover, fuel excise built into every liter at the Bowser, tolls in the major cities, parking fees, servicing, and tires, and the average Aussie household is spending well over $10,000 a year just to keep one car on the road. Multiply that by 2 cars in a typical family, and you're staring at the equivalent of a second mortgage repayment every single month just for the privilege of driving. Then there's what financial experts call the singles tax. According to Finder's 2026 Singles Tax Report, single Australians are around $19,260 worse off than people in a couple. Rent, electricity, internet, groceries, and even travel are all priced for 2, but one person carries the full load alone. It's baked into how the entire economy is structured. If you're single, divorced, widowed, or just living alone, you're paying a premium every single day. On top of all that, there are smaller things that destroy your wealth, like subscription creep. The average Australian subscriber spends $136 a month on streaming services, music apps, cloud storage, and forgotten memberships. Invested in a low-cost index fund, that same money could grow to over $80,000 in 20 years. Australian households also paid roughly $3.2 billion in bank fees in a single year, monthly account fees, overdraw fees, and foreign transaction fees that are mostly avoidable if you knew where to look. There's also lender's mortgage insurance, or LMI. If you buy a home with less than 20% deposit, the bank forces you to pay this insurance to protect themselves, not you. On a $700,000 property with a 10% deposit, LMI can easily cost you $20,000 to $30,000. Most buyers just roll it into their loan, paying interest on it for the next 30 years, turning it into a $60,000 expense by the end of the mortgage. Finally, we have electricity prices that are among the highest in the developed world, skyrocketing insurance renewals, and major supermarkets under investigation for inflating grocery prices. The difference between an Australian who feels broke and one who feels free is rarely income, it's awareness. The wealthy in this country are not necessarily earning more, they're leaking less. This week, open your banking app and cancel any recurring payments you haven't used in the last 30 days. Then, log into your super fund to check your fees and consolidate multiple accounts. Those small steps take under an hour, but can put thousands of dollars back into your pocket.